It is my privilege to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, Ms. Sashi Sairaman. She is a 2007 IIM Calcutta graduate, a dynamic and passionate executive with over 2 decades of experience in driving business strategy, digital transformation, product management, and talent development. She has a proven track record of managing pivotal business verticals, successfully increasing business value while also mitigating risk through diversification. She was the CEO and MD at MTAB Engineers, MTAB Technology Center, and currently heads the Abhyaz, which is a social enterprise that creates women entrepreneurs. Ms. Shashi's journey is one of innovation, leadership, and entrepreneurship. She has not only led high-performing teams and built thriving business ecosystems, but has also navigated the complexities of international markets, having managed business development in over 30 countries. Shashi is strong advocate for mentorship, continuous learning, and workforce empowerment, ensuring that the next generation of professionals is well equipped for success. Her entrepreneur mindset has enabled her to identify market gaps, and that also gave rise to MTAB Technology Center and Abhyas, and drive impactful solutions, contributing to sustainable growth of businesses. She believes in leveraging her expertise and resources to uplift communities, aligning her leadership with a greater purpose. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Sashi Sairaman. Now, I would request Professor Aditi Bhutoria to please initiate this discussion with Ms. Sashi Sairaman. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vishid. Shashi, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today for this IIMCreate interview. For me, what is fascinating about your journey is what you're doing at present, probably a culmination of everything of the past. Please start with telling us a bit more about Abhyas and what motivated you to establish the same.
So it's very interesting. This Abhyas, what I'm building is my fifth attempt as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not always successful. I've been successful 3 times. Once I failed. This is my fifth attempt. Abhyas is evolving as a marketplace that will connect rural SMBs, talent in the rural area, and women entrepreneurs. That's the objective of Abhyas. And this it will do through digital services. What motivated me to establish Abhyas? So, my entire experience and competency has been in skill development and building employable skills. Most of my career, I have been an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, I have bootstrapped and built multiple small businesses, right? So, when I had the opportunity of building the next venture, what got me thinking was I've built things for my lifestyle and for my needs. This time, can I build something for impact that makes a huge difference? And being a very strong advocate of women empowerment and generally, employee empowerment and small businesses, this just came to be. It just happened. It was to build livelihoods. The objective, if you look at it, that we talk about in Abhyas is building livelihoods. And building livelihoods is for small businesses, for women entrepreneurs, and talent in rural economies. So, one of the things that we aspire, right? One of the things that we aspire in Abhyas is to build it as a social enterprise and as a cooperative model. Uh, Now, if you were to look at it, there are many cooperative models, and I've been reading about it. One of it in India, which is very successful, is the Amul model. And Irizar in Spain is one other model which is there in engineering, which has been very successful, right? Uh, so when I was thinking why the cooperative model, I realized that whenever as an entrepreneur, when I was dealing with things, what I was facing is I would always be the person who's facing my customer, facing my vendors, because everybody wanted to always interact with the owners, right? Now, nobody wanted to really talk to employees, primarily because it was like, okay, I'm going to talk to an employee in an organization, but I want a final confirmation. If it's a small business, I would like to talk to an owner. How do I change that? And how do we bring co-owners, right? The second thing is, in small businesses, sometimes employees don't take that level of commitment and growth because they don't see the vision. So how do we change that? How do we bring employees as co-owners? And the third thing is that I found during COVID that what was not there before suddenly opened up, which was going digital. Digital transformation was going to happen, digital services was going to happen, and hence, which meant that opportunities are remote. So, all these three got us to think of this model. The outcome that I aspire from Abhyas is to build multiple cooperatives or multiple small teams or franchise this model, right? Become the true bridge for for employability in the digital ecosystem, enable large scale job creation beyond India, be the preferred marketplace for rural SMBs to access our business services. And this is through bringing together talent and entrepreneurs. I hope I have answered your question.
Absolutely, and it's very interesting when you speak about a cooperative model, when you talk about that in combination with digitization and e-learning. And also, if I understand correctly, this is a cooperative of women.
Yes.
So you did mention female entrepreneurship and also empowerment. Was that the initial intention or thought? Did you, and you did mention impact. So were you thinking about impact from this line of gender, or this is something that happened on its own organically? So, and now you do see making an impact in the lives of women.
So when I thought impact, I wanted to think of impact in livelihoods, right? So I didn't. I was definitely not looking at it gender based. And when we thought of impact, also we were thinking that how do we avoid displacement of people, social displacement. This is because I'm sure you see this, right? In the cities, there would be people coming from the rural, and they would say that I need to take a couple of days off because there's a festival, or they would find that they are living here, moving out from the rural to the cities, but not earning enough, not being able to contribute enough. So social displacement causes a lot of problems, and primary reason social displace happens is for livelihoods, right? So can we create livelihoods through remote opportunities was the primary impact objective. When we did this, what we found was bulk of the entrepreneurs that came in were women. Now, why this happened, maybe I may not say a politically correct statement, but it was because women were not the primary income, or rather, women liked the autonomy of entrepreneurship. They loved the commitment, they loved the decision making, and they loved the autonomy that they experienced. And we found that a larger segment of our entrepreneurs in our platform were women. So we thought, okay, why don't we make this? Because even if we are able to build so many women entrepreneurs in these remote opportunities, that could be like brilliant. And that number itself is like huge. This is not just in India, it's worldwide, right? This is what it just happened, as I said.
That's fascinating. Which brings me to the next question of, are you mainly focused on e-learning, or is there a hands-on skilling component here as well? Is it more blended? If blended, to what extent? And from a demand side or a user side, what is the value added that the user sees in engaging with this model?
Right. So the first type of user who comes on our platform is an intern, right? So I've been in skill development. I've been doing these employable job related courses predominantly in my career. And what we realized as we did this is you can't just do e-learning. You always have to do a hands-on. It has to be a skill-based approach, right? So the platform combines e-learning with various business tools like ERP, digital marketing tools, various tools to provide a hands-on training, portfolio-based assessments, portfolio-based uh, projects. You build your portfolio, your experience portfolio in our platform. So for the intern, what happens is it is not just a learning platform, it becomes a remote working platform. So they onboard into job based courses. Then they come into internal projects where they execute tasks. And if they have any doubts on executing tasks, there is always enough learning material for them to go learn. There is peer to peer learning. They have a huge team to rely on, like in any job environment. As they complete every task, they also create content on the task that they have executed. So what happens is when they exit a particular project, They have exited creating enough content so that the next intern has enough onboarding material. This is how it is, right? Uh, so with Abhyas, what we've done is we've brought together a learning platform, a heavily customized cloud ERP, and GitHub for project management. All of this, we've brought this together to make it a unified user experience for them. And this is exactly what they go and do with the customer side also. All these interns work on customer projects as well. They initially start thinking that they would like to work for one, and we also do not restrict any intern from a learning perspective or as to how long they want to work with us. So they start saying, I will be there for 1 month. And then when they start liking what they do, they end up being with us for 6 months to 1 year. And this becomes an invaluable experience where at the end of 6 months, they've not invested in, except for their time, they've not really invested in any cost as such. And it's recognized, and they get employed or they get opportunities, and they just seamlessly move into the job environment for whoever chooses. This is what it has been.
That's super interesting. I would now like to call Namami. Namami, can you come in, please? And over to
Yes,
you. A couple of
sure.
questions.
Thank you, Aditi. Very, very inspiring story, Sashi. And this is very close to my heart personally, and also professionally. I'm committed to this, to the same, goals. Now, I would like to hear some of the success stories and achievements of the learners from the Abhyas platform, and also how do you, as the platform provider, you measure the impact, the outcomes of the individual learners.
Yeah. I will do that. And before I answer that, there's one more point I wanted to just briefly touch upon as to how we enable or empower women and enhance their professional growth, right? Uh, Surprisingly, right, in India, and even we know that, right, even at IMC, we have a 15% of women participation across India in undergraduate studies and postgraduate. So quite a large number of women participation. What happens is after the women finish their studies, due to social restrictions or due to various family situations, they are unable to pursue a career, and there is a huge gap. So they are educated, and suddenly there is a gap, and they want to come back and want to enter the job or workforce after a few years. And what we do is we provide them with internships first and foremost to bridge their skill gaps. Now, these women, once they have bridged their skill gaps, we also provide them with an opportunity to come and partner with us as entrepreneurs. We have an evaluation where we test their entrepreneurship interest and capability, their risk ability, and they come, right? They take home a share of revenue, and so they're very driven, which means they know that how much ever they push the business, that's an increase in their economic income, and that's what they do. And the most important thing, though, what we did with these set of women is we decided to provide them with entrepreneurship opportunities without risks. They are decision makers, entrepreneurs, but they don't have the inherent risks of compliance, identity, infrastructure, and clients. Bulk of it is managed by the company. So this is what we've done. Now, coming to the success stories or achievements, right? There are four categories in which we evaluate. The first category is employability. What is the impact we have created in employability? The second is what is the impact that we have created in terms of entrepreneurship? The third is how much of reach, rural, semi-urban and rural areas have we done in terms of reach? The fourth is technology and innovation. How much of technology and innovation that we have brought about for small businesses as well as for these individuals, because they are the ones who worked on this, right, on the digital services. So, in terms of employability, about 200,000 people have applied for our internships across 30 countries. I mean, sorry, 20 countries. This is what is the number. We've managed to onboard and certify more than 3,000 of them, and 80%, more than 80% of them have gone on for either higher education or employment. So this is the number that we have achieved as a social enterprise. The second is entrepreneurship, which is what we rolled out. And this we have rolled out just in this financial year, starting April. We have created more than 30 entrepreneurs in just the last 10 months. and their average earning income is now touching almost 2.5 lakhs per year. So which means they started at the beginning of the year, we had no entrepreneurs. At now we just completed 10 months. We built about 30 entrepreneurs and almost 2.5 lakhs of annual income. Which, and please note, this is all in remote opportunities, right? The third is the rural impact or the regional impact that we've created. We don't have too many people coming from the cities. Most of them are from small towns and rural areas. We've touched about 200 cities or 200 towns all across the world, more than 200, from which we've had these 3,000 people come, which means we've just changed. For us, what we realize is we've been able to do this. And remember, Namami, we're a very small team. We managed to do this with no paid ads, nothing. It's just by doing things right, offering the right opportunities, ensuring that, there's something that I was told early on, a win-win-win scenario. Our interns win with employability, the women entrepreneurs win with income and remote opportunities, and our small businesses win by affordable services and fantastic team to work with. Right? This is what technology and innovation. We've got about 40 plus customers that we've added on just in this financial year, right? We have built 150 use cases with these 40 customers. We've built about 500 plus learning modules. It's been a phenomenal impact in terms of technology and innovation that we've achieved with this team. I hope I've answered your query.
So the next question is, with the evolving industry trends, right? How do you keep pace along with the technology and innovation?
Right. The industry, it's like a circular thing, right? The industry constantly drives innovation. I think entrepreneurs are the best example for innovation. So every time we add a customer, they drive our innovation because they have a problem. We solve the problem. And when we solve the problem, we create a relevant or contextual learning content for that problem. So we develop a use case, which is a tool based. We develop process documents, and we develop learning content. This is how we continuously innovate. In terms of technology, as an organization, we extensively use cloud ERP, and many large organizations also would agree. The technology offered by these business tools is far, far ahead in terms of what is even possible to implement in today's business. So we just select the right principles and partners and work with them. And that way, we are ensuring that we are keeping ourselves technically relevant as well as our customers as well, right? The third is, how do we ensure that the alignment is there? So there is training, there is entrepreneurship, and there is a customer related services, right? By enabling our interns to work with customers, we are building employability. Now, the customer, because he is getting these interns and women entrepreneurs to implement, he gets affordable services, right? And the third aspect is that for the entrepreneurs, they are continuously getting access to opportunities. Our interns create learning content. Our customers access phenomenal, great services for which they pay. And the entrepreneurs get these opportunity. Not just that, they get the expertise. This is how we continuously create what is called a win-win-win scenario. And so far, our business, everything has grown primarily through reference. And in fact, the Pan IIM group, women's group, is one of the biggest advocate for our business today.
Sashi, the thing is, you have been an entrepreneur. This is your fifth venture, manage business operations in 30 countries, right? Mm-hmm. So for our startups incubatees, I'd like to understand from you, right? What are your learnings from this? How to run the international business, cross-cultural collaborations, skill development, technology. How all these things play a role in this managing an international business?
So, right. So, when what we say is that, I think many people have said this. People are the primary factor in driving business, right? People are very, very important. This is something that I have learned. So having a great team, having a team that's inspired, committed, and driven is one of the most important things to for any business to be successful. Because you can say, I have a factory, I'm investing in technology, I'm going to do this and that and all that, right? But those decisions and the implementation and the ownership always lies with the team. So having a great team is extremely important. This is what it is. The second thing is we need to provide an environment where the team is constantly challenged, they're able to grow, they're empowered for decision making. And as entrepreneurs and startups, right? As an entrepreneur, early on, I would think, decision making was mine. Now I've realized that my job is only to identify risks and gaps. That's it. Just point that out, and in fact, teach my team constantly to say that, hey, you know what? That seems to be risky. What could be the risk? What could be the gaps? And look at it that way, right? So, decentralized decision making has certainly been a game changer for me in my approach. In terms of doing business, right? Whether we do business here in India, I think India itself is as good as doing business with 30 countries because we have so many states and culturally we're so different. As well as in other countries, communication is very key. Documentation, transparency in information, right? Access to information is very, very important. So investing in good systems early on is important because like I'll give you something as simple as an example, right? Having a CRM system is essential because you've got employee, you've got a person A, person B, and person C working, and they're supposed working on the same deal. If in a CRM, what happens is it pulls together all the information happening on the deal on a single page, and that's essential. Communication, why I say is key. It's not just internal, it's also external. You have to be clear. The customer's problems and needs are always relevant and important, right? Whenever we select a customer, we always try to extend and see if it can connect to a larger segment and not one off. We never overcommit. We always tell the customer that, hey, you also are equally accountable to this product and service that we are offering. It's not just one sided. We're fair. We approach this, whether it's our vendor, whether it's our employee, and we take a very fair internal and external approach, right? We have lost many deals, but we've never lost a client. So what happens is we may have lost an initial deal that we pitch with a client, but we never a sore loser. So we always must maintain a very good relationship with our customers so that they come back to us for any other services. And the last bit that has helped me personally is, earlier I used to act on intuition. Now I listen to my intuition, but I also keep asking for data points. That I say that, I have this gut feeling that this is there. Something is not sitting right. Can you just go and get me some data? Something seems to be wrong. Are we doing things? And we go collect data and it becomes decision making becomes easier. This is what has been my experience.
So essentially, it is almost similar if you are doing only domestic or international, right? Other than the compliances and maybe the paperwork, everything is almost similar.
It is almost the same. There's not much of a difference. And after having done this for almost 20 years,
Right.
my business approach has been resilience, long-term view, large and generic problem. So probably 20 years ago when I started the business, I had a very narrow view, but now I have a very long-term. I have a larger generic problem that we try to solve. We have a lot of resilience. We understand that it takes time. It's not going to be a 6 months miracle. It's going to take time, and we keep building capability. The second thing is in terms of my management techniques that I've approached, right? um, have very strong financial management. The leadership style is inclusive. It's never about the individual, it's always about the problem. It's very objective. It's a culture of integrity and honesty that I constantly thrive to create. I keep telling, it may be something as simple as this, right? I tell my team that if they want off, I say that if you want off because you want to go for a movie, you want to take some time off, you should come and say that because it's important to take off for the right reasons. But please do not come and give me some reason where it sounds this thing. So we have a very, very open culture of discussing, of being supportive, and systems and processes. I rely on my team, but then we also ensure that the systems and processes drive the whole thing. This is what it is.
Thank you so much for for these insights and sharing your learnings with us. Vished, I request you to now come in. Over to you.
Ma'am, my question would be around, so again, this Abhyas initiative is very close to you, and you talked about how like developing businesses takes a lot of time, and it's especially in the area that you are working in, and we also have courses around Indian economy and the social structure and how this could be not advantageous for certain sections. So how scaling up Abhyas, like what are the obstacles that you have encountered while scaling Abhyas, and particularly in terms of technology adoption and market research?
Absolutely. Technology adoption, I'm going to address that first, right? Uh, I don't have the numbers of this thing, but I believe that about 636 million SMBs, MSMEs are there in India, or probably, sorry, 63 million. It's not 636. 63 million SMEs are there in India, right? Technology adoption is quite slow with these SMBs. Now, there are multiple reasons for this. First is limited knowledge on how it can help the business. This is the first reason why technology adoption is difficult. The second is they have taken this, they want to take this technology, but can I get the talent who can implement it, who can work on it on a daily basis? That is their second biggest concern. The third is the cost of implementation and continued usage. How are we going to address it, right? Let's not forget that SMBs are focused on their survival, and also this sometimes doesn't feature as a priority. That also is there, right? It's unclear to me today if funding agencies offer investment or loans and financial support for investing in technology. Technology, what happens is when some technology is needed, they're not willing to give it for subscriptions and services. They're willing to give it for, say, a machinery or a computer and things like that. So this also becomes a huge issue because you're having a micro business. They probably need a very good accounting system. They need a payment gateway and e-commerce. And if funding agencies can understand that the business landscape has changed significantly and they need to provide financial support, this also can help, right? So for SMBs to consider investment into technology adoption and digital tech and stay relevant in today's business ecosystem, this would really make a difference. All three. The second is you asked me about market reach, right? And I would say market reach is a struggle. It's a struggle even for us. It's a struggle for any business, large or small. The larger businesses have the capability to invest and do this, and they look at it from a very long term. The smaller businesses really struggle. Um, for me, what I did differently, I would say with Abhyas is I went to the IIM network and they really helped. The alumni network has been fantastic for me, both at the institute, the professors, the kind of soundboarding that has happened, as well as, all the alumni have been helping out. Our customers, this has been such an employee team, customer centric approach that our customers are our biggest marketers. They come and scream at us when they're unhappy with us, but when they go out there, they keep referring. They keep saying, "Hey, you know what? They're doing something different. Let's support." Right? They keep referring clients, but this is inadequate to scale, and that's one of the reasons. In fact, I'm here today. Is I'm also engaging with the IIMCIP for the same, because how do you access a larger market? And we are in discussions on how do we reach these markets? How do we access talent, solopreneurs, create impact in maybe the northeastern part of India? That's something that we're looking at. So this is what it is, and if we achieve it, I personally I know that we are looking to create wealth, improve human capital in rural economies. This is also one of the objectives for Abhyas.
Okay. Uh, Again, this is not the first initiative that you have taken. You have briefly worked at senior leadership positions at MTAB Technology Center, MTAB Engineers, and also at Shares. Uh, how this has contributed in terms of learning and help you in overcoming the challenges that you face?
Yeah, this is address this in three different ways. Okay, the first is as an entrepreneur, what has been my entrepreneurship approach or a business approach is the first area. The second would be how different is my management style today vis-a-vis it was earlier, and the third is the risk appetite. How is the risk appetite today, and how was it earlier? And I think I've got to use a couple of things that comes back from org behavior courses that I learned, 17 years ago. The business approach. The business approach today is it's not. I'm not looking at the 2 minute Maggie noodles. It's not instant gratification anymore. It is building something for a larger purpose, larger impact. It's for resilience. It's a long term view, and it's solving a larger generic problem. Earlier I would everything was bootstrap. Now I'm looking at collaboration, I'm looking at scaling it, because if impact has to be achieved, it's like think big, think better. The management techniques, right? So after having been an entrepreneur for so many years, I would say, like I think Edison said, right? He figured out so many ways how not to invent the light bulb. So similarly, what are all the mistakes that has been made? So how do you manage finances better? How do you manage approach customers? What is the culture that you want? Um, it was a leadership style was command and control earlier. Now it's collaborate. It was what do you call the cathedral versus the marketplace. There is how do you just build marketplaces around cathedrals, because cathedrals are also essential, but how do you build such an amazing marketplace that it keeps growing, right? So these are some of the things that, and I think I couldn't do that earlier, because that also the needs were different. Systems and processes. This is an organization. It works remote, which means we do not everything is on the cloud. Everything is like, information is accessible for all of us. It's so much of transparency, this communication. The whole thing works differently in terms of management techniques. Risk appetite. Risk appetite, at every stage, the risk appetite of an entrepreneur is very different. It is driven by needs, and I think it largely are related to the stage in life also that we're all in, right? It's like the Maslow's need hierarchy. I simply love that pyramid, because every 5 years it looks different to me, and every 5 years I keep thinking that I keep moving up the hierarchy, I keep moving down the hierarchy. It's so much of a lovely journey for me personally, as well as a professional. And now I would say it's different because I'm not building something because i I just want to pay my bills, I want to take care of my lifestyle. That's not the reason. I'm building something for impact, for like, making a difference for everybody else. And so my approach is collaborative. It's focused on achieving the impact and vision that I have for Abhyas. And here, I was a senior leadership, I was a managing director and CEO. Here, I just mentor. I'm constantly teaching others. I'm just teaching others, I'm teaching them all that I know. And then I go and try to figure out what's the next problem that I see, and I'm challenging myself. This is how my core approach has been based on the background.
Okay. Uh, Ma'am, when we talk about women entrepreneurs and their participation, when we see the numbers, we see a very stark reality. We are actually able to appreciate and that the work that you are, the area that you are actually working in. According to some of the reports, we are seeing that the women labor participation is actually is close to 24%, which is towards the lowest globally when we talk about India. And some of the estimates, they say that if we are able to increase women participation in our workforce, India could actually add 770 billion in its GDP. And so my following question is a two-part question. According to you, what are the primary barriers that actually prevents women from participating in the workforce in India? especially in rural and semi-urban areas? And the second would be, what message, again, do you have for the next budding female entrepreneurs which are out there?
Right. Primary barriers. I'm going to take that part first, right? Uh, Women are the primary caregivers in the family. I think I can safely say state this, at least in 75% of the situation, and they can have a career only after supporting the family. And when I say family, you could have children, you could have parents. There are also social constraints that affect them from movement. Um, there are also that even if they are extremely competent, sometimes the workplace is not very conducive for women to work, right? I personally have worked in the manufacturing industry, and it was a huge barrier to be a woman there. I'm not going to make any bones about it. In any large conference, any large meeting, we would still be less than 10%. So this is because it has nothing to do with any gender bias. It's just what it is, right? And what one of the reasons why primary barriers for women in terms of entering the workforce is there's a absence of opportunities that allows flexible and remote working. See, we have clients who come to us and they ask us that, hey, I need this in person. So the first thing we tell them is we're fully remote. We're fully remote. You're never going to see us in person. You probably would only see us virtually. And the only person you probably would see in person is me because I'm willing to travel, but I'm not going to ask any woman. We've had women who've come and worked with us. And one of the things that they also choose the entrepreneurship model is they say that I like this. It gives me the autonomy. It gives me the decision making, which sometimes I don't have at home, right? So these are some of the things. Now, what message do I have about budding female entrepreneurs? Not just female entrepreneurs; it's any entrepreneur. Uh, okay, I'm gonna. How do I say this? It's like your eyes. You've been tied. You've been blindfolded, and you have to walk on a path. You have to figure out that path, and it is based on a very strong sense of faith. And every time, how it feels is when you take the next step, you don't know if there is going to be ground under your feet. This is exactly how an entrepreneurship journey feels. But what at least across after so many years, what I keep finding for myself is that I write down my expectations. So I don't have these any of my expectations and goals and things that I want to do. I never have them in my head. I always write them down physically. I have a decision making journal that tells me. And every time, the mind kind of plays games and says that, no, you've not done well, or you're not doing well and things. I go back and look at these goals and then I realize, oh, these are my goals. This is what I wanted to achieve and I'm here. So this helps. This is something that I think I've learned only after 17 years. I've just started practicing it in the last 1 year. The second thing is that do not it's like there is success and there is failure. Both of it happens in equal terms. In fact, in everybody's life, in everybody's career life, there are enough gaffe and mistakes that we do, right? It's just that it's very much hidden when it is probably in a corporate role, or in a job role, but it's in entrepreneurship, it becomes a very gaping thing. So be kind to yourself. Like, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to struggle, fall down, pick yourself up. This is the second thing. The third is give yourself time. Don't try to, don't give up that easily. It takes time. It takes, like, uh, it's like entrepreneurship is like raising a child. You can't just say that, I will just take care of the child for 2 years and 3 years and give up. It takes like 25 years probably, before the child is fully grown, fully functioning and out there. So you need to give that time, and you need to let it grow, nourish it, nurture it. That's very important. These are the three things that I can think of I would tell to any entrepreneur.
So my last question would be around, again, I am at Cal campus, and I really enjoy when we are back to the student life. It has its own advantages, and once we are out there, I think it's a different, altogether different experience. So what are some of your prominent memories from IIMCare, and that you would like to share with us?
So I have this very special story as to why I chose IMCAP. Okay. So it was in a very, very trying period of my life that I had to come back to school. And the reason I had to join a B school was because I needed a job, right? I had a young child, I needed a job. And so the one thing that came to my mind was go to the best B school. लाइक बी स्कूल जाएंगे तो लाइफ बन जाएगा प्लेसमेंट हो जाएगी ठीक है दिस वाज द होल थिंग एंड most of my family was living abroad, my cousins, my sisters. I was one of the few people who was here, so safely I applied for schools abroad. I had applied for London School of Economics, London School of Business, INSEAD, GSB Chicago, and I had applied for IIMCAP. So I had admits in all of them, and I was like, I'm going abroad, I'm not staying here, right? And my mother was strongly convincing me to consider, saying that, IIM Calcutta is great and you should think about it. And I was like, no. And there was this call that Professor BB Chakraborty, he was the chairman of the program, and he makes this call to me. And he says that, can I speak to Sashi? It was that those days, I think, yeah, I don't remember. It was either on the landline or on the mobile. And he said that you haven't accepted it yet, your offer. I said, sir, this is what is happening, and I have this admission. I really am inclined to go to INSEAD. Because INSEAD at that point was ranked number 4 in the world. And he's like, why are you going to INSEAD? You should come here. You'll have a great time. It's like, okay. But then, I said, why do you think I'll have a great time? He said, trust me. Just come here. You'll have a great time. Give this a try. I said that I would like, if I'm coming there, I'd like you to allow me to come back every 3 weeks for 3 days to meet my kid because I'm not bringing my child there. He said, done. So I chose IMC and I came there, right? And it's been no looking back. Every day I have enjoyed it. And I'm like immensely grateful that he made that call that day. If he hadn't, this is one. Now, in terms of the nice memories, right? B school was a very different experience for undergrad. We had a lot of matured people hanging out, loads of fun. Yeah, that's how my batch was. It was like amazing fun we had, and the placements were brilliant. I cannot begin to tell you. Like all of us had 2 to 3 offers when we were graduating. I know it's probably different here, but we had this, and I think we all enjoyed sitting through the placement just for the journey. This is one. But most important thing was like, initially we all ate in the canteen and in the mess because that was all included, right? But towards the end of the course, it was like that Mohandas baggy. Almost the entire class was standing out during lunch and having. It's like for us every time it was just be the Maggie. It would be like all times of the day. Otherwise, we'll hit the night canteen for all times of food. This is what some of the enjoyable thing. The rest, I think I can't say it. It won't be politically correct.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for sharing your journey and your experiences. I think it was inspiring personally, very inspiring for me, and it will be for other young entrepreneurs. Now I would like to invite Professor Aditi Buduria to take ahead the conversation from here.
Thank you. Thank you, Bashir. I was having a wonderful time listening to your views, Shashi, and time has really passed very quickly. What I would like to say is just a few concluding lines. You've literally opened up your heart to us. You've shared your experiences, your failures, your successes. And according to me, Shashi, you and Abhyas together, in some sense, are a true reflection of genius female entrepreneurship. And I'll explain what I mean in a second. I mean, there's a common, proverbial saying which says that, genius is doing what is needed when it is needed. And I think with Abhyas, you prove that. You prove that if there is a need in the market, there is a demand for a particular kind of product, how do you build that ecosystem, the skills, the labor? How do you get them committed to make it into a successful product? So, your journey is a testament to that. Also, I see female entrepreneurship. So, some of you may be aware as viewers that at IIM Calcutta, we had the India 2047 Building the Future with Entrepreneurship conference a couple of months back, and Shashi was very much a part of it. And there was this continuous discussion and debate as an undertone whether there is something called female entrepreneurship. I mean, can entrepreneurs be different basis gender? And I today listening to you, and I've done a couple of these interviews earlier, and listening to you, I do see a distinctive difference. And I may not be able to generalize it, but definitely feel it today. Is that when women lead businesses, when they are entrepreneurs who are leading a firm, they are not just in some sense trying to build a successful company. I think they are building communities. And listening to you, I think Abhyas is a journey of building communities and in lieu of that, also achieving a very successful business model, right? So it was really interesting to hear about that. Couple of lessons for the larger IMC community, the student body who may be interested in entrepreneurship, which came out for me were, this entire merit of being patient, being resilient. That's a word you used a couple of times. I think resilience matters a lot to be successful in life in general, but definitely so to be a successful entrepreneur is what I got from you. And also, you mentioned longer term vision, and I on the vision, moving with that. Yet again, something that you did not leave sight of throughout this interview was the concept of social impact. I mean, impact, whether it's through giving women livelihoods or remote opportunities to work, or reaching out to rural populations, interns, and making them feel inclusive in the process. So, on that note, on behalf of Namami here from IMCIP, and of course, Vished from the ECell, I would like to express immense gratitude to you, Shashi. Thank you for agreeing to do this interview with us and giving us your insights. And we wish you more power and strength to spread the social impact.
Thanks, Professor Aditi. It's been a pleasure and an honor and always an humbling experience to talk about this. Thank you again.